All right, we are going to successfully do a CNET Labscast show now. I know, Julie, I know. I'm even putting my headphones on. That means it's real official.
Here we go.
And we have our special guest here today, Scully.
Yes.
Hello, Scully. Now, you know what? It's actually a real name. People are actually named Scully, so it's not as funny. Mr. McSkull. That might be
the
funnier.
X-Files, last name Scully.
That's right, that's right. Or the guy's companion in Uncharted. Isn't his name Scully?
He is.
Yes.
So Mr. McSkull.
Vin Scully.
Vin Scully. Captain Skulls a lot.
Does he have his own camera?
No, but you can kind of see him in the overhead shot really
Yeah.
well.
Okay, we could cut to him for reaction shots. That would be the only thing I can imagine.
His shot is the overhead shot.
He always looks
because
dead.
Okay.
That's
his
his
camera.
reaction.
That's his camera.
He has kind of a lifeless gaze.
Whenever
All
we
right.
have something that we feel doesn't succeed, we'll cut to Scully,
Cut to Scully.
like product fail.
All right, so we got three big things to talk about today because we're also hardware and product focused here on the CNET Labscast. Number one is, and this is in no particular order, they've taken the Sony PlayStation Vita, which we played around with the other week,
Yep.
and added a whole bunch of new apps to it, and new functionality. Well, that's kind of cool. Makes it more than just an Uncharted game-playing device. Number two, I got the Samsung Galaxy Note here. It's the only hot phone of the year so far. Or is it a tablet? You tell me, and we'll have a big pants pocket discussion about that, I'm sure. And then Julie has got what Scott has deemed the DellBook Air, Dell's version of a MacBook Air. That is the Dell XPS 13. Which of these topics would you like to discuss first, Scott?
Why don't we dive into
The Vita.
the Vita?
I love it.
Because we've been talking about it, and yeah, those new updates came in. We talked about this last week, and we were thinking about what the Vita, is good for in addition to gaming. And I keep dreaming of, personally, it's my Moby Dick, the idea of a PlayStation phone. Just because, and I wrote a piece about how I think the next Vita should be a phone. A lot of people criticize it. What I mean to say is that I credit Sony to that degree that they're capable of making a phone. And the Xperia Play, as much as you may not like it, it's actually somewhat capable as a concept if they only had analog sticks and if the device only played next-gen games. And now that the Vita is all downloadable and also those cards are so tiny and that screen resolution is, 960 by 540, it's like iPhone 4S like. There's no reason you can't shrink that down to 4 inches or 3.5. And if you get those graphics down to a smaller device, I don't know. The thing is, yeah, those apps launched. There's Netflix, there's Facebook, there's Flickr, there's a Twitter capable app. All this stuff is trying to make it like a smart device, like a smartphone. Everything looks like apps.
But it's just not a phone.
But it's just not a phone, and it's so big that it's not, here it is. It's a very nice device. It's just not very pocketable at all.
Well, that's what they said about the Samsung Note, which they actually made into a phone.
They're
probably almost the same size.
They are.
Yeah.
Hold them up. They're
almost
they're
the
very
same size.
similar. One's obviously thinner.
Oh, here,
but-
you hold
yeah.
both.
Yeah.
So here we go. Yeah.
Keep your magnets away from there.
That's right.
Seriously.
One is a 5.4 inch,
Yeah, 5.3.
5.3. There's a 5 inch.
But it's significantly deeper.
Yeah, you can
Yeah.
see the thickness is the big deal here, but they're very similar sized devices all told, if you think about it. And you could use that screen, that OLED screen, and use these apps, and it's touch compatible. It works like a smartphone.
I mean, it's awesome for videos.
And yeah, that's it. And those are the types of functions I want to see more on the Vita. Netflix works. It's a little slow to start, but once it gets going, it
Here, I
looks
got the-
great on the screen. The more I want to
I've
see
got
all the
one.
other
I've got
video
the-
apps.
I've got the live tweet app, which is their version of a Twitter app, which is okay. It's not anything
Right.
better than you could get from Twitter. I'd almost rather go to Twitter on the web browser that's built in.
Yeah, and I played around with Facebook on it.
Oh, that's right, Facebook.
Have it on here, but you bring it up. Facebook was very slow loading, and then I noticed it got pulled from the store. I don't
Oh,
know if it's
really?
still on there. That was not that impressive. The Twitter one's okay. People talk about whether you should have an email client or not. I don't know, but I think the more that you put in those any streaming music services like Pandora and others, and obviously like HBO Go, Hulu Plus, I'm sure they'll be on the Vita at some point.
Do you really
I
think
hope so.
Hulu Plus
that
I could see.
Sony will want its competitors on its device?
Oh, here you go.
Well,
There's
they
more
do on the
tweeting,
PlayStation 3, so I feel like it's
but I can't get the actual signal here, so all you're
Right.
seeing is the interface.
There are no tweets.
There are no tweets.
But you can yeah. I
But
don't
what
know how
about
much I'll-
Netflix? Can we launch that? Let's see.
Not as long as disconnection is going on.
Yeah, are we getting?
But it works. But
any
it works kind of the
service?
same way
Yeah,
as
and
Netflix does on anything else. So that's all cool. But it took them a while to get those apps up. They had games available first, obviously.
Right.
And I'm not sure. Just like they have Twitter and Facebook built into Xbox Live.
Right.
Nobody ever uses that.
The only way it would work well is you want it for social connectivity in games. I feel like outside of it, it's like on an iPhone. I like the idea of Facebook Connect because it's even more than Game Center, obviously. It's a more direct way of playing games like Words with Friends. Now, I don't know if they'd want to put Facebook Connect in because PSN is their network, but that would be how I'd like to use Facebook. As I agree. And I don't really care for tweeting in games because what's the point?
It's annoying.
Right. These like racing games, like, do you want to tweet your achievement? No, I don't ever want to do that personally. But, it's not working here right now. But every video and audio app, I mean, again, the PlayStation 3 does have MLB, it's got NHL, NFL game, Sunday game ticket, whatever, I forgot the name of it, but the game ticket service, NFL Sunday ticket. And they also have Hulu Plus, and they have Vudu on the PlayStation 3. They were the first to get Vudu, and so you'd think, like you said, would they want that? Well, they've done it. So
I'm thinking more of their music apps like Pandora. They don't have that on
music.
PS3,
they
right?
might not.
No, because they have their own service.
Music
It's like
Unlimited.
Sony-
They have Curiosity.
exactly.
Music Unlimited.
The
is
oddly spelled,
Curiosity.
Well, also also that
Curiosity,
Music Unlimited
Curiosity.
service.
How
which
are those
I know is
different? Are they the same thing?
It
or are
is
they
the same
different?
thing. I think
Is it the same?
Curiosity's the umbrella brand.
Okay, and the music is
everything's
this music
video
part of
unlimited,
it.
yeah.
Because I played
Right.
around with that. I was on the PS3. I tried. I was like, oh, this is kind of an interesting function, but most people haven't played around with it. I don't know. But as for radio, like a TuneIn radio app, they used to have a PSP radio app that wasn't that great, but they should have a radio app on the Vita. I think that's kind of
To pull in over-the-air signals?
No, to pull in like TuneIn radio, all of the digital
like web
signals.
radio.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like web radio.
Okay, sure.
I don't
sure.
see. I mean, basically, it's as functional as any one of those devices. You're dealing with the ARM architecture and everything else. It's just Sony's operating system. So
I mean, I think you brought up a good point, Scott, when you talked about the Sony Ericsson PlayStation phone.
Yeah.
That was okay as a phone, but did not satisfy as a gaming device.
right.
The
So-
Xperia Play.
Yeah, the Xperia Play. If you get the gaming right in this, what happens when you had a half-hearted phone, if you even do, or maybe some sort of VoIP calling?
Well, there'll be Skype on it, and that's
Right.
the thing is, and then so you get
That
there.
makes sense.
Yeah, that could be interesting. And I still say, shrink this down, like the PSP Go, which I actually bought.
Yes.
It's obviously it's not perfect, but it was really nice and small. I took it out the other day and I was like, wow, this is really compact. And if they put 2 analog sticks in, and you made the next gen Vita get to that size, there's no reason. There's no UMD in here. There's no reason why you couldn't eventually shrink this down.
That's true.
It is pretty huge.
It's big. You shrink it down, make it really pocketable, and then you make it sort of an Xperia Play type phone.
Make it like this. Look at this. Same size screen. Maybe
Get in that
add. I mean,
zone.
give me the 2 analog sticks on it, sure, but it doesn't have to have the giant wings on
Right.
it or the, it doesn't really need that. Listen, the touchscreen on the back, we didn't really need that, did we,
No.
Scott?
That's the number. Yeah, we're talking about things we're not going to use.
What is that for? I mean,
So they could say
what
they
could
had
they
it.
possibly use it for?
They shoehorn it into things.
did.
It is like
Oh, man.
it's like 6-axis on the PS3 when it first launched.
Okay.
Certain games use that thing, and you're like, I don't want to use this. Yeah, the main feature that you love, the whole point of the Vita is the dual analog sticks.
Right.
It's got a console-like control. That's awesome. So you want to use that, and like you said, Dan, about complexity, I agree. It has maybe 1, 2, maybe 3 too many interactivity functions that you'll never go back to. Like I feel like when I play the Vita right now, 100% of the time I'm pretty much using the analog sticks and controls. That's great.
Yeah.
Uncharted, anything else. Touch, I would use if I had to get an iPhone type game that was ported to it. You're like, oh, it makes sense to port those things. The back touch,
Yeah, the back. I don't.
it's used for weird like
Unless it has an itch on its back, you're like
little
seriously,
deviants,
Let
you're
me
poking
scratch you, PSP.
they're using it for things like they claim use it like Uncharted you can use to zoom in the sniper rifle or extra steering functions. But there isn't anything I found that you couldn't already do with the other buttons.
Right.
It's not an
It's
essential.
like redundancy times 2, times 3.
It's just amazing they threw it in there. It just seems like why. It seems like a lot of investment in like a really weird little
It's
extra
like
feature.
let's put more stuff, more confusing.
Well,
things
that's the.
in.
It's
Just
almost
to-
like it's a marketer's thing. You got to
Yeah.
have the
Yeah.
list.
just to solidify the price. It's just like, okay, yes, it's cost this much because
It's touch
got this
kind of
extra
has
stuff.
all this stuff.
Now, here's the question. If
Yeah.
you were considering getting a PlayStation Vita for the games and maybe you haven't convinced yourself yet, are these extra apps, Twitter and Netflix and the 1 or 2 other apps they really have, is any of that going to push you over the edge?
Not me.
No.
No,
I will buy
and
this
Scott?
thing for the games.
Okay.
I would only for its suite, like I said, of video and music apps because I don't want to pay. Sony does have a store for renting, like iTunes, like for renting TV shows and movies. I don't want to keep paying for that stuff. So if I can get Netflix, Hulu Plus, or whatever else I want, YouTube, there's a YouTube app on there, and I can watch videos when I'm on the go. I do like that as a selling point. I don't think it's a
But
huge
only
selling
if you
point.
don't have an iPhone or an Android smartphone,
Pretty
Yeah.
much.
which do those exact things.
Exactly.
Right, but the thing is, I
Or
think that's what people.
tablets or-
But I think that's what you expect now of sort of an entertainment device.
That's a good point. So you're saying that's the baseline. No matter what the device is meant for, if it doesn't do Twitter and Netflix and a few other things, then you just kind of have to have them to just be
That-
in the game.
Some people will disagree, and I think there's a
No.
lot of people say no, just dedicated games. But I just think that it's already on its way there. It's clearly the Vita is designed to be a smart device. It is in that territory, and so I feel like to not have it feels weird.
Okay.
That's all. I feel like it's not maybe something I don't need, but that's all.
Julie?
Yeah. Oh no, I was just gonna say it's pretty much out of the box at this point. Those apps
Yeah.
are just out of the box for everything. So it's
Exactly.
like
Kindle
laptop-
Fire has to
yeah,
have
exactly.
it.
So you
Yeah,
know,
you gotta have them.
you got I mean, even laptops have some of those apps on, like Skype is already there, and like
Right.
the Facebook app and stuff. They're making the widgets for the laptops as well. So it's just like that's already gotten as part of out of the box experience.
The
So
3DS
to
has
have that-
Netflix. The
yeah,
freaking I mean, no offense to the 3DS, but it's
Yeah,
the 3DS has
it's
Netflix.
like, but yeah, for the PSP to have that now, it's just late in the game. It's like a lot of their stuff that they're featuring as this huge price point is just like, dude, that's already been done to death at this point. Like, what is new about your product that justifies the price?
Back touch panel. That's
Yeah,
new.
Exactly. I can scratch my PSP when it itches. That's the extent. Oh,
You know what? Say that now. That's going to be a game mechanic in 6 months.
Yes,
The itchy console.
Yeah.
I think
You have to keep it happy like a Pokemon.
I think it's on to something if they can get the battery life better and they can make it more
yeah.
affordable and just make it smaller.
Oh, I got
Get in that
a
territory.
cool little caveat about the PlayStation Vita. I went into Best Buy this week just to see like how they had it set up, and they had a big rack of the first-party accessories, which I don't think we got any of here. I did cases and stuff, so I said, oh, they have the power adapter because maybe you want one at home, one at work, or you lose one. It's the first thing you lose is the AC cord.
Yeah.
And I saw AC adapter, $15. I go, that's actually pretty good. If you lose your AC adapter for anything, it's usually like pretty expensive to replace it.
Right.
So
That's
so I
better
looked
than the
at it.
Apple equation. For that.
Nah, but it's not.
it?
Here's what it is. The box that says AC adapter in it has the converter block and the plug that goes into the wall. It does
But-
not have the cable that connects that to the Vita itself.
Oh no.
That cable is sold separately under the name USB cable in a separate $15 box.
Well, it is what Apple does. It's the same
that's
thing where they
funny.
sell you the one cable separately and the power brick is another option.
Exactly.
Wow.
Oh.
So if you lose your cable, if you lose your power cord, and you probably have those connected, don't go to the store and just buy the AC adapter because you'll get home, you'll open it up, and there won't be the cable to connect it
So
to
it's
the...
another proprietary port. It's
Yes.
not a micro USB.
Oh, no.
No, no. Here it's a.
Oh, no.
Don't Sony learn?
It's a little. I think it might be the same one that the PSP Go has.
I call it
What
Son
the
of
heck is
Attrack.
that?
It's a little. Looks like a mini version of a 30 pin.
Yeah, kind of. It does. All right. So those are the latest updates for the Vita. Maybe
Yeah.
next time we'll actually get our act together ahead of time and get some ad
Yeah.
hoc Wi-Fi going and play a
Yes.
game against each other, where we'll do a little round robin tournament, which I think would be kind of fun to see.
So I got to say, like, on a final note on that, you're right. Like, the totally confusing thing about the Vita, it's great that it has those social elements between Twitter and Facebook, and then their myriad of social apps they have on it
Oh,
that
God,
all
yes.
have names like Party and Near and like whatever else. It's so confusing when you look at it. I just want, like, I agree with you. I just want one thing that connects me.
Sony Social.
Right, Sony Social. Nice that you have all those features.
And
I
that's
have
friends,
no
it's
idea.
geolocation stuff, it's messaging.
Right.
Just make it all
Game
one thing.
connections, whatever you want. Just too many socially things going on. I got scared. I like the features, but I'm just like, wait, just show me what is going on.
Oh, this is cool. You can see your PS3 network friends on there and get updates and stuff. So
Yes.
That's okay, but I only have like you and David Carno, I think, are my only friends on the PlayStation Network.
And as we said, like there are ways you can get your Vita games. That's another small note. The game library. If you have old downloadable PSP games, download them on your PS3 and connect them over with that system transfer.
Complicated. Oh, my God.
I know.
All right, speaking of
Secret stuff.
things that are not complicated, it's not complicated when you want to make a really cool new laptop. You just take the most popular laptop out there and you copy it. Hey, that's what Dell did. All right, Julie, what have you got right there?
I have the Dell XPS 13.
Upside down.
It doesn't matter.
Like
really
if you
doesn't
didn't,
matter.
if you took that Dell circular logo off the back of the lid and
Yeah.
replaced it with an Apple logo
Well,
with the lid
yeah.
closed, you would not be able to tell the difference.
No, actually not, because I mean, if
Just
you
in
can
terms of
see
the
it-
black bottom, there's
Yeah,
supposed
if
to
you
be
All
can
right,
see
silver.
it
yes.
from-
And
yeah,
it's not
from
as
the
tapered in the
actual-
front. But if you just looked at the lid, like from the top down,
Well, that's
Right.
the thing. If you look at it from the side view right here,
mhm,
you probably would think this is a MacBook Air.
The average person might think so.
Yes, exactly.
and that's clearly what
We're-
they're going for.
Our eyes are.
I don't mean to
not
say it like that.
Yeah, I know. I'm saying it's just like we're not easily deceived that way.
It's that silver,
because-
yeah, the top bottom silver. would be
But
the one.
yeah, I mean, once you open it though, it looks kind of generic though. Except it has Gorilla Glass for the screen.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, and the Air does not have that, and I like that all over look.
and it has
But
a
the
bigger trackpad than most of the Dells
mhm,
normally have. But other than
Backlit
that-
keys, I'm presuming.
yeah, backlit
yes,
keys, which
backlit
is
keys,
nice.
Yes.
And the glass over the screen is nice, but the screen itself, I didn't think that was really that great. It's only 1366 by 768,
Yes.
while 13-inch Air is 1440 by 900.
Yeah.
And it's a
and-
it's a tweener size wise.
Well, it's. I'll get to that point in a second. I just want to say the screen, one, lower resolution than you'd expect from a premium 13-inch, and a lot of the Ultra books have that same resolution, but some of them have like 1600 by 900 would be great.
Yeah,
But
some
it's
have
also,
two
it just looks terrible off axis. It's not a great looking screen. You just move your head a little bit, and it really washes out.
They're really cheap, those type of screens.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
want something that
exactly.
has good, coming from a TV background, you want something that's got good uniformity across the screen. You don't want to have to move your head to get something in focus.
right.
right.
And that was the problem with the original version of the S that you
The VI OS.
yeah, that
so
you looked
currently
at
we're
this
reviewing
week.
the 13-inch for this week, but yeah,
It's got a noticeably better screen this time than the first iteration, and it had that type of screen where you had to move your head a little bit to not get that sort of grey green
Right.
wash. And so this has got a bad screen. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I mean, one, it's a lower resolution screen that you really want in kind of a premium product, lower than the MacBook Air, and it's got terrible off-axis viewing. Walt Mossberg of the Wall Street Journal said largely the same thing about it, but he said that Dell had told him they're going to make a higher resolution screen available soon, which will hopefully be better, probably a 1600 by 900,
Sorry.
which is
Turning it.
which is great. I've seen 13-inch laptops with 1920 by 1080, only like one or two, but that's just too small. You
Yeah,
can't read
yeah.
anything. 1600 by 900, I think that's perfect for something like this.
It is. I've come around to that. The VI OS 13-inch I'm reviewing, the SA, has a 1600 by 900.
Okay, so did the Vio Z I just reviewed.
Yeah, and it is great. It's
It's just right.
yeah, you can pack a little more on the screen.
Yeah, here.
I like it a lot.
Okay.
I like it.
But you see what I mean about the
off-axis.
yeah.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Here, hold it up to the camera. Let's see if they can kind of
You
see
won't-
that.
See,
Yeah,
that,
look,
see
I-
that grey-green?
Yeah, I can totally see it when you do
Yeah.
that.
Where it flips, where the black suddenly
Yeah.
seems
Yeah,
lighter
look at
than
that.
everything
Goes-
else. I
you can
can't
totally
goes
see that.
negative.
Yeah.
But the thing is about a laptop, it doesn't need to have great off-axis
Yeah,
because it is a singular
but
device.
so often you're using it in kind of a collaborative way.
Yeah.
Or you're just watching it weird, like you're looking around at different things.
If you're on a train or something and you've got to
Sure.
jam it in under a seat, like there, it's just grey. It's
Yes.
not cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
But I like it too. That's the thing.
It feels good, yeah.
It feels a little heavier than you think it will because, as Scott pointed out, it's a 13-inch screen and something that's more like an 11 or 12-inch body. It's actually a very small body for a 13-inch.
Yeah.
I measured it. It is slightly larger than the 11-inch Air and slightly smaller than the 13-inch Air, but
So this-
thicker.
Yeah, the footprint feels really nice. It's just crosses over.
But it
into
feels
that-
dense and heavy.
Does feel dense. The bottom's a little thicker, but the material feels nice, like a rubberized.
That's like it's like aluminum on the back, magnesium alloy, and then carbon fiber, I believe, on the bottom.
And I like the use of the real estate up here. I do wish that the Airs
Just went edge to
had
edge
less
like that.
bezel. Yeah,
Well, they do it partially to save weight.
they do. And then on the 11-inch Air, I think it's really because you get a full keyboard that's uncompromised.
I thought the
that large
keyboard was really good
trackpad.
on this too. The keys
really?
have a nice soft touch. They don't clack a lot. They're quiet, which I appreciate.
Yeah, it's a nice look.
It is nice. Now it's got these weird ridges on the bottom. Scott, can you see that?
Yeah,
The Dell has ridges.
Yeah, really. Here, go to
they're bumpy
go to Scott's
little
camera. Yeah, there. See?
Is that the carbon fiber? Is that
No,
what's
just
doing that, or is it
rubber-
actually imprinted in the?
oh, that's imprinted.
That's
but I mean, it's got the
imprinted, yeah.
ridges for, I guess, probably heat. Yeah, because the vent's right there at the
oh,
bottom.
these. Yeah,
So the Air obviously is flat on the bottom, and that makes it a little thinner overall.
What price are we looking at for
That's
this thing?
$999 with a 128 gig SSD and a Core i5.
That's pretty good.
That is good.
price is good.
You can get the same thing in a cheaper feeling thing for like $100 or $200 less, like the Folio 13 from HP.
Absolutely.
Which is $100 less. But that's for $999. I'm happy with that. You can spend, I think, another $200 or $150 and get a Core i7 and a 256 gig SSD, but no higher screen resolution just yet. But yeah, I like it a lot. I call it the first, quote, very important laptop of 2012.
I just want to know battery life. I know that that's still
That's right.
pending.
Battery life.
That's the magic number for this. If it's
It
good,
almost,
I'd be
it almost got
interested.
4 hours. 5 hours of battery life.
It's all right.
It's like 4 hours 57
Yeah.
minutes.
But it
So it's
doesn't
like
have
the
the
11
slice
inch.
battery option.
No.
No.
11-inch Air territory.
Yeah, not 13-inch Air territory.
No.
And dare to go back to him again, Walt Mossberg, who got this a few days before us, is the only one who did, said that the battery life was kind of disappointing to him. I don't know if he ran an actual benchmark on it like we do. But
So he could have just been
5, I don't
Yeah.
mind. 4 would bother me.
but overall, I think it's actually quite nice. I wish it was a hair lighter, and I wish it had a better screen.
Yeah.
There you go.
Aren't most of those the res is 13:7?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But this is an XPS. It's their high-end line. You want more.
But yeah, I kind of expected that from it.
And it's a lot better than their
anyway.
previous big high-profile launch, which was the XPS 14Z, which was just a big, bulky
Oh, yes.
boat of a laptop that they launched right when everyone else was launching their Ultrabooks. They're like, it's so thin.
Yeah.
Like, compared to what?
Our other products.
Yeah. It's thin compared to other Dells.
To our desktops.
It's pretty
Yes.
nice.
Yeah.
I like the design of it.
Now, what do you like better, Scott? Just quick gut check that or
your
Folio
son-
13?
Oh.
I like the size of this better.
Okay. I like to see those two side by side. Maybe later we'll grab
Yeah,
them and we'll do
I like
a
the
little
size of this
photo
better.
gallery.
But again, what I like the Folio 13 was the number of ports. This
Uh-huh.
is
Oh, God,
no
that-
port compromise. No Ethernet, obviously.
Yeah, there's only two USB ports.
No
Yeah.
SD card and
There's not-
display
there's
port
really
instead of
nothing-
HDMI.
There's really
Right.
nothing on that.
And the Folio 13's battery life was awesome in the 6-hour territory, I think. So that's why I like it using it. But size-wise, this. Design and design.
Okay,
Sign,
okay.
sign and design.
Sign of design. That was awesome.
Zaza.
Sign of design.
Here you go. Anyone else want to?
Very cool. So our third big gadget of the week is the Samsung Galaxy Note. I saw this at CES. And I was like, wow, that's actually something cool because I wasn't expecting to see anything just randomly cool. It's a big phone / small tablet. I'll turn it on briefly here because the battery's about to die. But look
It's a
at that.
phablet.
It's a phablet. It's a phone. It's a phonelet. I don't know. Here,
A phone.
Yeah.
See, that's
Take a
what's-
peek.
That's
Phonelet
weird.
sounds makes it
what?
sound
That
like
it's plastic
smaller.
on the back.
Yeah,
Yeah, it feels
sort
really
of feels
cheap.
like it pushes in, like it's
It's
leather
cheap.
or something.
It's cheap plastic on the back. That's the real. That's the biggest problem. It's very lightweight though.
Ooh, it's
weird.
Here, hold it up to the camera while you're doing it. It's good.
Press the
So,
leathery
so,
thing.
so turn it on and then do like a finger swipe to actually
There we go.
get to the menu. Yeah, and then just
Do
swipe
this
your finger on
thing.
it. There you go.
And then,
Oh, you're calling someone now, Scott. You've turned on the phone somehow.
okay, I don't want to do that.
You broke it.
Talk to them on air.
There we
Hello?
go.
There we
and
go.
then, do we have a stylus or no?
And you know, I think it's
Yeah,
in
it
the
does.
lab.
Okay,
It
because
does. We don't
that's
have it right
obviously
here.
Yeah, I
the
think
other.
Brian has it though.
Yeah.
That's the well-advertised feature. I gotta say, the ads for this are not bad.
No, they're actually quite enticing, and that's the whole point. The concept of the
Drawing on
phone
it.
or tablet or phablet is very enticing, and they do a good job of advertising it. It's a question of practicality when you actually get it in your hands. You know, is it too big to use as a phone? Is it too small to use as a tablet? We were doing a pants check before.
That just sounds so wrong.
I managed to. Now
I am wearing pants. I checked.
I know.
I'm wearing them.
I slipped it in the front pocket of my jeans. It fit, but I wouldn't go running around with it. You were wearing, I guess, more casual slacks. It fit in there. If you had cargo pants, that'd be fine. Skinny jeans, not so much.
It would
Yeah.
fit my
I'm
baggy,
wearing-
my
like I'm
baggy
wearing-
jeans.
But then
would
it's
fit.
so fragile. You'd be afraid to really run around with it just naked in your pocket that much either. It just feels really plasticky to me.
You need wide, flat legs.
Wide flat legs.
The curvature of a
You need
leg
robot legs.
would.
Yeah.
It's almost. I mean, it's approaching the 6-inch Kindle size.
Mm-hmm.
I wish I had one here, but I feel like this is not far off. That's a 6-inch screen. This is 5.3. It's like the same thing. I could pocket the Kindle if I want to, in a jacket pocket.
Oh, yeah. And you can put that in your jacket pocket. I put it in my blazer pocket.
Nice screen.
Yeah. No, it's a great screen.
If I put that in my pocket, that would be digging into my skin right now while I'm sitting down.
Could hold up the Vita and the
That's
to
right.
make, to make
The
phone
PS.
calls.
The 5-inch screen club.
Can you hear me?
That's funny, but you know what? I downloaded like Angry Birds on there, and it looks really nice on the big screen. Obviously, movies look really great on it.
It's awesome.
But when you use the web browser, it defaults to the mobile version because it's an Android device, and they're really, no matter what anyone says, it's one size fits all. And whether it's a 3-inch phone or a 5-inch phone or a 7-inch tablet or a 9-inch tablet, it's the same thing. So it defaults to the mobile version of the website unless you go in and manually change it on whatever site you're on.
Yeah.
So you see those, like basic boring text links like you used to get on your BlackBerry or your whatever else. So
There must be a way to hack it. I'm sure someone's
I
written
know,
it.
but do we have to hack things?
Yeah.
Oh wait, are you talking about
So that your browser appears as a full browser rather than a mobile browser.
Right.
Oh, it's not so much a hack. It's literally in the settings. Like you can change it to have
Not go to the mobile versions
yeah,
of sites?
to not
Okay.
go to, there's an iPad version and blah blah blah. It's just like it's literally like a ticker take. And
Okay,
it's just
that's
like
easy.
you can choose.
So the
which-
default is it goes to the
Yeah.
mobile version, then they have to manually on every cycle go to the full version. So that was annoying. The finger responsiveness, it's good for an Android phone. It's still not the same as a you-know-what. I mean, it's just not. And there are proprietary, trade secret reasons for that. And if you did not use an iPhone or an iPad a lot, you probably wouldn't notice. But if you do, you'd notice.
Now, the style. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say that. Has anyone seen the film Top Secret?
The old
Yeah.
movie with
There's a scene where the commandant comes up and there's a big telephone in the foreground and it ends up being
That's
a big
right.
telephone. You've got it in the foreground of your shot there and it's sort of like, oh my God, let me know if his condition improves.
I remember that.
He is dead.
That's a good reference.
There you go.
Yeah, we're not showing it now, obviously, but the stylus. I'm interested that I guess it uses Wacom technology. I believe?
It's an active stylus, so you can't use like your 3DS stylus or anything.
Right, and it allows some extra
Functionality.
fine tuning and sort of like a
And
pressure
sketching is fun.
sensitivity.
It's like a little sketch pad, but how many people walk around
sketching.
sketching?
Creating content
Annotating.
all the day.
I'm
I
doing
need to
character.
edit-
I'm going to go to the park and do caricatures.
I'm going to annotate my
graffiti
PDFs
artists,
today.
graffiti artists practicing their art before they actually go up on the wall.
That's right, but they're leaving an electronic paper trail then that the police can follow.
Delete. Pull
This
out the
is-
battery.
this is trying to make-
You can't. Okay.
It's too
It's trying
funny.
to appeal to David Hockney to try to steal him away from the iPhone as the
So, yeah.
sketch device of choice.
So if you just need a phone, I'm not sure this is the right device for you. If you just need a tablet again, I'm not sure. It's sort of a jack of all trades, master of none. But it's cool, and I appreciate people doing different things and playing around with stuff, So that's my take on it. I'm not sure I'd find it that useful, but I
It
appreciate
needs dual analog sticks.
That's the final step.
But the more different types of phones
Actually,
we have and
use a
tablets
couple
and
of
things, the
these.
better.
Oh yeah.
Oh, don't put a magnet on it.
Oh.
My
Before we
God.
destroy everything.
Tell us about these
All right,
things.
our
We've been
final
playing
device
with
of
these
the
day.
for
Oh,
the
yeah, forgot
for the
about
whole podcast.
Which I feel like I've magnetized the entire studio with these.
Yes.
Yeah, I wasn't able to talk about Toy Fair last week because I was away the week before, and then we didn't have a show last week. But when I looked at Toy Fair, came back, one of the things I enjoyed playing with, Nanodots, who make these little tiny magnets, have finally made Megadots, which are the larger marble-sized version. And you can get them in a pack of 30, and you mix them together, and now it looks like some strange infectious disease of magnets. And you can make them into bracelets or whatever else. And interestingly, myth-busting thing, apparently the Nanodot guys had reminded me that as far as demagnetization or concerns, really only need to worry about magnetic hard drives and credit cards. They're reminding me that for LCD screens or phones even, you can bring these magnets right up to it and be fine. Now,
SSD stuff, solid state stuff is fine.
right, so bring up to your smartphone, etc. Of course, most people are not comfortable with that. I'm still not comfortable with it, even knowing that. It freaks me out. But of course, magnets are in devices like iPads, so there you go. So there are these things.
So tell me about the danger of accidentally swallowing these.
Yeah, so these are not for kids. In fact, they have a clear warning for the age, and I think it's much higher than you expect.
I mean, they certainly don't look like something a kid would find fun at all.
Right, now one of the dangers they warned about is
Except
if
to
you swallow...
eat,
if you swallow these-
I'm being sarcastic.
But I'm saying-
They look incredibly fun.
If you swallow these little dots, they said the risk could potentially be that they would go into your intestines, that your intestines could stick together across, that these little dots could
Hold your
essentially
intestines.
draw magnets in other parts of your... It's terrifying, but that is a real risk to swallowing these. They also said, this is a weird point, that the magnet strength on these larger ones was reduced because they proudly said that if they had brought them up to the strength of the smaller dots, these would break your fingers if you played with them. That when they snap together, there was a risk that they could snap, they could break your bones.
What's the bet they will come out with an extreme edition?
Bone snapping power. But they're
It'll
awesome.
be in Jackass 4.0.
They're awesomely addictive little desk toys, and there's you can build stuff out of them, but they are not for little kids, or even
Big
youngish kids. They're
Oh,
for
good thing Joseph is not here this week.
do not
He's
swap.
off on his cruise. Well, Scott, thank you for showing us your balls. I always
No
appreciate it.
Multicolored.
Your magnetic balls. Yes.
My multicolored magnetic.
All right, well, we're going to go finish up our testing of the Dell XPS 13, and I know Scott's working on a Sony laptop review, and Ty, you working on anything exciting these days?
A TCL 40-inch television.
That's like a
What is
cheapy
a
brand,
TCL?
right?
Yeah, it's like, apparently it's the most popular TV on Amazon.
Those are the ones I think you go into Best Buy, and they're just kind of stacked up by the cash
Yeah,
register
pretty
next to the
much.
candy bars. It's like an impulse buy.
It's
I'm not even
there
kidding.
next to the crisps and the soft drinks, the TCL 40-inch.
The crisps,
The crisps.
Scott.
Crisps.
I
The
like
crisps and the chips.
that. You
and
sound
the,
like my wife, the British Australian
Tally-ho.
connection. How much does this TV cost?
$380
And how big is
for a
it?
40-inch.
Damn.
Wow.
So,
you let
as you
us
can
know.
imagine, it's fairly basic, but I'm
Is it
putting it to its
1080p?
pages. Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
All right. Well, next
So-
time next time my TV blows up, there you go.
Yeah, all right.
I'm in the market still. I'm window shopping.
Well,
for
you
a
just
year and a
found your
half.
TV.
Yes.
All
Oh,
right.
man.
Well, thank you for joining us. Every Monday, allegedly, if we get the stream working, 2 p.m. Eastern, CNET Labscast, or just pick up the episode later at cnet.com/Labscast, or on Facebook at facebook.com/CNET Labscast, or on Twitter, little @ Guess what? That's right, CNET Labscast. And that is all. We will see you next week, where I think we're going to have some very exciting things to talk about. I can't even say what they are now, but they are exciting. How about that for mysterious? And then maybe
know.
I'll get some music going. Otherwise, I'm just going to fade into the logo.
La, la, la.
There you go.
Hey.
All right. Goodbye, everybody.
See ya.
Later.